Aliens came to save. But the human had defied their science HFY storytelling. The interstellar medical vessel, Aurora Sentinel, glided silently through the violet mists of Vayara Prime, a planet known across the galaxy for its lethal storms and shifting gravity. The alien medical specialists aboard, each clad in shimmering biosuits, could not hide their unease. Dr. Salira, a veteran xenobiologist and trauma specialist, scanned the mission dossier again. 8 days ago, a human explorer, Captain Elias Thorne, had crash-landed on this remote planet. The distress beacon had reached Earth immediately, prompting a joint call for assistance from the Vayari Council, one of the most technologically advanced species in the sector. Salira glanced at the team, noting their silent tension. "Remember," she said, voice steady, "human physiology is unusual. Their ability to adapt, heal, and improvise in extreme conditions is unlike anything our databases fully capture. Be ready for surprises." Her words hung in the cabin as the crew prepared landing protocols. The ship descended into a turbulent storm, lightning crackling across jagged cliffs. The aliens had spent decades cataloging every known natural hazard, but Vayara Prime's northern crags remained a mystery, an untamed wilderness that had claimed countless lives. Yet somehow, a human had survived. That alone was remarkable. 8 days of isolation, injuries, poisonous flora, predatory fauna. And he had survived. The landing zone was a jagged plateau overlooking a canyon carved by centuries of volcanic activity. Below, rivers of molten rock glimmered like veins of fire. Sensors picked up faint thermal signatures, small, scattered, and irregular. Human movement. Salira's pulse quickened. There. That's him. The medical team, fully equipped, navigated the treacherous cliffs. Alien terrain scanners highlighted hazards: falling rocks, thermal vents, magnetic distortions. Captain Thorne's position was marked by improvised shelters, evidence of ingenuity and resilience. As they approached, one of the younger medics, Dr. Kevel, whispered, "He couldn't have lasted this long without. I don't even know how." Then they saw him. Elias Thorne, lean and sun-scorched, stood beside a crude structure fashioned from the wreckage of his shuttle. His right arm was wrapped in a tattered sleeve, legs dusted with ash from molten rock, yet his posture was strong, confident. His piercing gaze, unafraid and calculating, met Salira's as if daring the universe itself to underestimate him. He grinned. "I take it you're here to save me?" Salira raised her scanning device. "We need to assess your condition, Captain. You're in extreme danger, your injuries, exposure, and the environmental hazards." Thorne interrupted with a laugh that was equal parts exhaustion and triumph. "I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. I've been experimenting." The alien team froze. Every sensor they deployed indicated healing at a rate defying biological expectation. Cuts had already closed, burns had scarred and faded, bruises were nearly gone. The human had used natural flora and his own improvisation to survive. Salira's analytical mind raced. "You've applied local medicinal flora?" "Something like that," Thorne said casually. "Observing local fauna helped. Some predators heal in specific ways. I borrowed their techniques." He gestured toward a small patch of flora with blue luminescent leaves. "This did most of the work." A murmur of disbelief ran through the medical team. Dr. Kevel's tentacles quivered. "Impossible. Their regenerative abilities shouldn't allow this. The biochemical processes alone." "You think I care about your biochemistry?" Thorne smiled. "I care about surviving." The aliens set up triage anyway, though every scan reaffirmed the impossible. The human was healthy. Beyond normal endurance. Beyond their calculations. Salira paused, studying him. "Humans are underestimated." Thorne shrugged. "Usually. I like it that way." As the team collected data, Thorne began guiding them to his improvised campsite. Each step revealed more evidence of his resourcefulness. Thermal traps for small predators, water filtration systems crafted from wreckage and local minerals, and markings indicating safe paths across volatile terrain. The human's survival wasn't luck, it was intelligence, observation, and adaptability. The aliens followed, tense yet fascinated. They were trained to respond, to save, but this human didn't need saving in the conventional sense. He had already defied their science. Hours passed. As night fell over the jagged cliffs, Thorne lit a fire. The glow illuminated his face, showing scars and soot, yet a vibrant energy radiated from him. The alien medics, for the first time, understood something fundamental about humans. They did not merely survive. They adapted, learned, and overcame, often in ways the most advanced civilizations could not predict. Salira took notes, her analytical mind buzzing with new possibilities. A human, alone on a deadly planet, had identified and applied regenerative techniques from the local ecosystem. The implications for xenomedicine, biology, and even interstellar survival strategies were profound. She looked at Thorn. "Teach us. Show us how you healed yourself." Thorn's eyes sparkled. "You really want to know?" "Yes." He stood, moving confidently through the alien sensors and instruments. Step 1. Observation. You watch the creatures, see how they handle injury. Step 2. Trial and error. Step 3. Patience. Nature has lessons if you're willing to learn. As the alien medics followed, carefully documenting every step, Salira realized this encounter would redefine their understanding of human capability. They came to save a life, but instead they were witnessing a lesson in resilience, ingenuity, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. By dawn, the alien team had more than a patient. They had a living, breathing demonstration of HFY. Humanity had survived, healed, and thrived where others would have perished. And the lessons from Captain Elias Thorne would echo through their civilization for years to come. Salira's final thought as the sun rose over Veara Prime: perhaps humans are the teachers, not the taught. The Medicraft Zephyra 7 hovered above Thrylon Expanse, a desert world whose surface shimmered in shifting sands of crimson and gold. The alien medical specialists aboard were tense. This planet was infamous not for predators, but for its volatile magnetic storms that could scramble navigation, sensors, and even life support systems. Yet somewhere in this desolate land, a human had crash-landed and survived for 7 days without contact. Dr. Leora, chief xenomedical strategist, studied the mission briefing again. The human is equipped with standard Earth survival gear, but the expanse is lethal. 89% of previous crash survivors died within 3 days. This one, we are already late. Her team remained silent, gripping their anti-grav packs and environmental shields. Among them, Dr. Tarek muttered, 7 days, 7 days in this heat, radiation, and sandstorms. How? Leora didn't answer. Words weren't necessary. The Zephyra 7 descended into the swirling dunes, the hull resisting the abrasive, metallic sands. The storm was already forming, towers of dust and charged particles twisting in violent spirals. Sensors pinged erratically, struggling to locate the human. Target is here, the NAV computer finally hummed. A faint heat signature danced just beyond a ridge, almost invisible under the scorching sunlight. The human had moved, adapting his shelter constantly. The team disembarked, their feet sinking into the hot, vibrating sands. Leora scanned the horizon. The landscape stretched endlessly, punctuated by jagged rock spires and magnetic anomalies. A shiver ran down her spine, not from cold, but from the palpable intensity of a place untouched by civilization. Then they saw him. A figure crouched beside a small pit filled with water collected from underground vents. His skin, sunburned to copper tones, glimmered with a sheen of sweat. Protective goggles covered his eyes, and his uniform, tattered and patched with local materials, blended with the desert sands. "Human," Leora called, lifting her hands. "We are here to assist you." He looked up. A grin split his dusty face. "Assist me? You're a little late, don't you think?" Leora's team froze. The human's calm tone, despite 7 days alone in the expanse, radiated confidence. His eyes scanned the approaching medics, unafraid, calculating, assessing them as though they were the strangers in a hostile land. Dr. Tarek whispered to Leora, "He's not scared." "He shouldn't be," Leora replied. "Humans don't panic the way other species do. Observation, adaptation, improvisation. They've evolved to thrive in hostile environments. Let's see what he's done." The human's name was revealed in the emergency signal file. Captain Jace Nolan, pilot of the research vessel Odyssey Dawn. Sensors indicated minor injuries, abrasions, and minor burns, but all already healed. His ingenuity had turned the surrounding terrain into a survival workshop. Makeshift shelters formed from metallic shards and desert flora, heat traps for catching scarce prey, and purification filters for water scavenged from sand vents. Leora knelt beside him, scanning for hidden injuries. The readings stunned her. Rapid cellular regeneration, accelerated by locally harvested flora. The human's immune system had adapted to the desert pathogens in days, not weeks. "Explain," she said softly, almost a command. Nolan chuckled, brushing sand from his makeshift garment. "Observation first. The expanse has patterns: wind, heat, radiation. The creatures here, they're survivors too. I copied them. The plants, the insects, even the sand reptiles. Learned from them, adapted their methods. Worked every time. The alien medics whispered among themselves. Dr. Vren, youngest of the team, finally spoke. 7 days, and he's alive, healthy. Unassisted. Our databases can't account for this rate of healing or adaptation. That's the human way, Nolan replied. We don't wait for help if we can fix it ourselves. We survive and we improvise. Leora motioned for the team to begin detailed scans. They checked vitals, cellular regeneration rates, hydration levels, and biosignatures. Every reading confirmed the impossible. Captain Nolan's body had stabilized itself using minimal resources, turning the deadly environment into a personal laboratory for survival. As the scans continued, a sudden tremor shook the sands. The expanse's magnetic storm had intensified, creating unpredictable sand vortices. Leora signaled the team to hold positions. Stay calm, Nolan said. These storms are predictable if you read the signs. See those dunes? They move in patterns. If you position yourself here, he pointed to a rocky alcove, you'll avoid the worst. The aliens watched in awe. Not only had he survived 7 days, but he also understood the environment instinctively, predicting natural hazards better than their sensors could. Leora's mind raced. Every human she had studied had resilience, but this was beyond anything recorded. Captain, how did you identify the medicinal flora? Nolan laughed softly. Trial and error mostly. Watch the insects, see what they eat when injured. Try it. Make mistakes. Watch carefully. The desert teaches if you pay attention. Hours passed. The storm raged above, but within Nolan's alcove, the medics documented his techniques. Improvised shelters, dietary adaptations, herbal treatments, even behavioral adjustments to minimize exposure to predators and magnetic anomalies. By the stars, Dr. Tarek muttered, humans are teachers, not patients. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a glow across the dunes. Nolan began collecting more flora and insects, demonstrating their properties and uses. Leora observed carefully. Each step was a lesson in survival, adaptation, and improvisation. This is incredible, she whispered. Not only has he survived, but he's teaching us about this ecosystem in ways we never could. Nolan nodded. Exactly. And this isn't special talent. Any human could do this with the right mindset. Observation, learning, and patience. Night fell and the temperature plummeted. Yet Nolan's body had already adjusted. The medics observed thermoregulation far beyond normal standards, his metabolism stabilizing without external assistance. Leora recorded it all. Data, notes, and samples. Everything would redefine xenomedicine and survival strategies across civilizations. The human had not only survived but had turned a lethal environment into a living classroom. Before leaving, Nolan offered the medics a simple piece of advice. Respect the environment. Watch carefully. Nature provides lessons for those willing to see. And remember, humans survive because we never stop trying. As the Zephyr 7 lifted off, leaving Nolan safely on a cliffside plateau, Leora's team reflected on the encounter. They had not rescued a victim. They had observed a living testament to human ingenuity and resilience. She knew the implications were staggering. In every system, every planet considered uninhabitable, humans might find a way to survive. And in observing them, other species could learn, adapt, and perhaps even thrive. That night, as the stars shone above the crimson sands, Leora wrote in her log. We came to save a human. Instead, the human saved us. From ignorance, from underestimating life, from believing that survival is bound by the limits we set. Humanity has once again reminded us why the galaxy must respect them. They are the ultimate HFY lesson. Weeks after Captain Jace Nolan's survival in the Thrylon Expanse, reports reached Galactic Medical Command of another human in distress. This time on Zephyr Prime, a dense jungle planet shrouded in constant mist, towering flora, and hidden dangers. The world was ecologically rich, yet notoriously lethal. Predators of immense size, plant-based toxins, and unstable terrain had claimed countless lives of explorers who dared venture beyond its mapped clearings. Dr. Leora, now seasoned by witnessing Nolan's adaptive genius in the Expanse, led the alien rescue team. Her colleagues were on edge. Zephyr Prime was a world few aliens had traversed. Magnetic anomalies, airborne spores, and carnivorous vegetation made it nearly impassable for non-native species. Yet here they were, tasked with rescuing a human who had reportedly survived alone for 10 days. The team descended in a reinforced medical dropship, piercing the dense fog. Visibility was minimal, the giant canopies blocked sunlight. Strange calls echoed, a mix of vocalizations, roars, and unknown tonal frequencies. Leora felt the familiar tightness of dread, now tempered by awe at the human's apparent resilience. Sensors show heat signatures clustered in the eastern grove, Dr. Tarek noted, adjusting the ship's bioscanners. Multiple injuries healed naturally. Incredible. He survived again. They touched down on the forest floor. Mist swirled around them, wetting equipment and blurring their vision. The air was thick with spores and pheromones from alien flora. The medics donned environmental suits, still wary of the forest's hidden dangers. Humans adapt, Leora murmured, more to herself than anyone else. They observe, not panic. They survive. They moved carefully, guided by faint signs, a broken branch, flattened ferns, footprints. Suddenly the forest floor shook. A massive predator emerged from the mist, 4 legs, sleek black scales, eyes like molten gold. Its mandibles clicked in warning. Stay calm, Nolan's voice rang from the clearing ahead. The alien medics froze. They hadn't expected the human to be ahead of them. Nolan stood casually on a moss-covered log, holding 2 makeshift spears. It's all right, he called. I'm friends with this one. Just watch. The creature tilted its head, growled softly, and nudged Nolan's shoulder. Nolan laughed. See? Mutual respect. You approach carefully, they'll respect you back. Leora was stunned. He's not scared, she whispered. No, Dr. Vren replied quietly. Humans rarely are. Even in life-threatening situations they study first, fear second. Nolan guided them deeper into the jungle. The terrain was a living maze. Giant carnivorous plants snapped at their equipment, trees shifted in the mist like sentient guardians, and the ground gave way into hidden pits. Yet Nolan navigated with precision, stepping only where flora or animal paths suggested safety. You learn patterns, he explained as they walked. Every plant, every predator has a rhythm. The jungle isn't random, it's alive. Pay attention, adjust, survive. The medics observed him carefully. Every plant, every insect, every small creature he encountered became part of his survival toolkit. Leaves were used to filter water. Vines became improvised traps. Bark from a tree with purple resin treated minor cuts. Even the venom of a small insect was carefully neutralized using sap from another plant. Hours passed. The human skills were extraordinary, not in strength but in observation and adaptation. This is beyond instinct, Tarek said. He's experimenting, learning, applying knowledge from the ecosystem in real time. Leora nodded. He's turning the jungle into a living classroom. Suddenly a scream echoed. Not human, but the piercing cry of a predatory flying creature, wings spanning dozens of meters. One of the medics froze. It's too big to? Nolan raised his hand calmly. It won't attack if it thinks we're neutral. Follow me. He led them to a shallow ravine. There the creature hovered, scanning, talons extended, eyes glowing. Nolan stepped forward and placed a hand on a mossy rock, speaking softly. The alien medics couldn't understand his words, yet the creature paused, then slowly descended, allowing Nolan to move beneath its shadow. Respect, he said simply. Even predators respond to it. The medics recorded everything. This human was not just surviving, he was interacting intelligently with apex predators. This was a skill no alien medics had ever observed in their species. Eventually, they reached a small clearing where the human had constructed a makeshift tree platform, high above the forest floor. A crude ladder of vines and fallen branches led up. Supplies were scavenged from both the environment and the remains of his crash pod. Leora scanned him. Minor cuts and abrasions were already healing, his body robust despite 10 days of exposure. Captain Nolan, she said carefully, your cellular regeneration, it's extraordinary. How do you do this? Nolan shrugged, a small smile on his dusty face. Not magic. Observation, patience, experimentation. Learn the environment. Make mistakes, correct them. Your body adjusts. That's what humans do, they improvise, adapt, survive. Dr. Vren exchanged a glance with Leora. We came to rescue him, and yet it seems he's teaching us survival techniques in a hostile ecosystem. Nolan gestured to a cluster of resilient plants. See this? Its sap accelerates healing. These berries provide immunity against local parasites. That vine filters water naturally. Watch, test, adapt. That's how life continues here. The medics collected samples, noted his methods, and recorded environmental interactions. The human had turned an alien jungle into a laboratory of survival, each decision informed by observation, risk assessment, and improvisation. Night fell, and with it came new dangers: nocturnal predators, poisonous spores, and shifting terrain. Yet Nolan's body adapted. Heart rate regulated, temperature stabilized, metabolism adjusted. The medic scans revealed enhanced adaptation mechanisms, a combination of human resilience and environmental optimization. "This is revolutionary," Leora whispered into her comm, "not just HFY. This is xenobiology in practice. A human alone has outperformed entire planetary survival protocols." Suddenly, a low growl echoed from the mist. A massive, multi-limbed predator approached, eyes glowing red. It was faster than anything the medics had encountered. Weapons drawn, the team hesitated, but Nolan moved forward, speaking calmly, holding a bundle of fruit. The creature sniffed, then allowed him to pass. "Mutual understanding," Nolan explained later. "Not dominance, not aggression. Observation. Adaptation. Respect. That's how you survive here." By dawn, the Zephyr 7 arrived, scanning the platform. Nolan had not just survived 10 days, he had mastered the jungle, documented medicinal plants, learned predator patterns, and turned the terrain into an environment he could navigate safely. As the medics prepared for extraction, Nolan offered final guidance. Survival isn't about fear. It's about learning, adapting, and respecting the world you inhabit. Humans survive because we face danger deliberately, observe carefully, and improvise constantly. Watch, learn, and you'll see. Any species can thrive if it understands its environment. Leora looked around at her team. They had come to save a human, expecting to administer aid. Instead, the human had demonstrated mastery over life itself, challenging every assumption they had about survival, intelligence, and resilience. As the Zephyr 7 lifted off, leaving the jungle behind, Leora recorded in her log. "We came to save a human. He has survived alone in the deadliest jungle in known space for 10 days, using intellect, observation, and improvisation. Humanity teaches resilience, patience, and adaptation. HFY is not just survival, it is mastery over impossible odds." The jungle below seemed to whisper with life, indifferent to the medics and their ship. Yet humans, Leora realized, had a unique ability: they could thrive where no one else dared enter. And in that moment she understood why the galaxy feared, respected, and admired humans. Not because of weapons, not because of numbers, but because of their indomitable will, ingenuity, and capacity to adapt against impossible odds. After the Zephyr Prime jungle mission, reports of human resilience spread rapidly through the Galactic Council. Leora, now recognized for her documentation of human adaptability, received a new assignment: a distress signal from Glaciaris 9, an icebound planet on the outer rim of the galaxy. Glaciaris 9 was infamous. Temperatures plummeted below -120 degrees Celsius, winds reached speeds of 400 kilometers per hour, and the landscape was dominated by jagged ice cliffs, deep crevasses, and hidden geothermal vents. Previous rescue missions had failed. No alien species had survived more than 48 hours without environmental suits and life support. Yet the distress signal indicated a human had survived 10 days, navigating the frozen expanse. Leora assembled her elite HFY observation team, a combination of medics, engineers, and environmental specialists. Their transport, a reinforced ice climber ship, cut through the blizzard, landing in the shadow of a massive ice plateau. Visibility was almost zero, frozen clouds shrouded the horizon. "Sensors detect a human heat signature ahead," reported Dr. Vren, adjusting his thermal scanner. "Localized in a crevasse system. Movement patterns indicate survival skills beyond expectation. Predictive modeling suggests he's rationing energy, conserving heat, and maintaining shelter. No alien could endure this long unaided." The team disembarked, suits activated, boots sinking into soft snow. Leora led carefully, aware that even a small misstep could trigger avalanches or drop them into hidden ice chasms. Each step brought new challenges: brittle ice sheets, patches of thin snow concealing freezing water, and aggressive wind gusts threatening to knock them off balance. Ahead, they saw signs of human activity: footprints partially buried by snow, a crude windbreak fashioned from ice slabs, and a small fire pit with partially frozen embers. "He's adapted," Leora whispered. "He's not just surviving, he's thriving in a death world." From the shadows, a Glaciaris predator emerged, four-legged, massive, with thick translucent fur and glowing blue eyes. Its breaths created steam clouds in the frigid air. Leora signaled the team to hold. Unlike other species, these predators were highly sensitive to movement and temperature. Any sudden motion could trigger an attack. Before anyone could act, the human appeared. His name was Captain Eli Hart, tall, broad-shouldered, and dressed in improvised insulated gear scavenged from his crash pod. He approached the predator confidently, carrying a piece of heated rock. The creature sniffed the rock, growled softly, and then backed off, allowing Hart to pass. Observation, Hart explained later, once they had reached his temporary ice shelter. I learned from watching them. Every predator, every thermal vent, every snow drift has a pattern. You study it, respect it, and you survive. The team examined him. Surprisingly, Hart had no frostbite, no hypothermia symptoms, and only minor abrasions from climbing ice cliffs. His metabolic adaptation was extraordinary. His body conserved heat efficiently, utilized minimal calories, and adjusted his circulatory system to prevent frost damage. Dr. Leora scanned his vitals. Captain, your body is performing at maximum efficiency in extreme cold. Your survival mechanisms are unmatched. How did you manage 10 days alone in this environment? Hart smiled. Predict, observe, improvise. That's humans. I study the wind, the ice, the predators. I create shelters, maintain fire, and ration energy. I improvise tools from what's available. Ice shards, snow blocks, even geothermal vents for warmth. You'll see, it's not magic, just patience and learning. The team followed Hart through the frozen labyrinth. He showed them how to identify stable snow bridges, detect thin ice over crevasses, and locate geothermal hotspots safe for rest. Every step was a lesson in environmental intelligence. Leora and her team were taking notes constantly, amazed at how the human had turned a lethal environment into a manageable survival system. As night fell, temperatures dropped further. Aurora lights danced across the horizon, but with them came predatory nocturnal species, winged, ice-adapted carnivores capable of hunting in total darkness. The team set up sensors and traps under Hart's guidance, learning how humans anticipate and mitigate risk in extreme conditions. Hart shared his survival philosophy. Fear doesn't help you. Knowledge does. Observation turns danger into data. Data turns into action. Action keeps you alive. That's how humans survive against impossible odds. During the night, a blizzard intensified. Winds tore across the ice cliffs, threatening to collapse Hart's makeshift shelters. The medics panicked briefly, but Hart calmly instructed them to reinforce snow walls, anchor equipment, and utilize geothermal vents to stabilize heat. Within hours, they had a semi-permanent encampment, resilient against the storm. By dawn, the blizzard had passed, revealing a frozen expanse dotted with predators and hazards. Hart led the team across a crevasse field, demonstrating how to jump, climb, and traverse using minimal tools. The alien medics were exhausted, yet Hart remained energetic, even aiding those struggling. His physical resilience was amplified by mental discipline, another uniquely human trait. Midway, Hart discovered a cluster of ice crystals with healing sap trapped within, a natural antifreeze that could accelerate tissue repair. He applied it to minor injuries on a medic's hands, demonstrating practical use of environmental resources. Leora recorded everything meticulously. Humans don't just survive, Leora noted in her logs. They integrate with the environment, learning from it, adapting tools and strategies. HFY isn't just a label, it's a demonstration of ingenuity and resilience against impossible odds. Hours later, they reached the extraction point. The Zephyr 7 hovered above, scanning the ice for safe landing. Hart guided them to a hidden geothermal vent, safe from predators and avalanches, allowing the ship to land securely. As the medics prepared for liftoff, Hart addressed them. This planet is dangerous, but knowledge, observation, and improvisation turn danger into opportunity. Humans survive because we adapt, we experiment, and we respect the environment. You can too, but you have to think, not just react. Leora and her team boarded the ship, awed and humbled. They had come to rescue a human from the frozen wastelands, and instead had been taught survival, ingenuity, and environmental mastery. The Zephyr 7 lifted off, leaving Glaciaris 9 behind. Leora recorded her final observation. We came to save a human. He survived 10 days alone in a frozen death world, using intellect, observation, and adaptation. Humanity thrives where no other species can. HFY is not just about courage, it's about understanding, learning, and conquering environments deemed impossible. Below, the frozen landscape stretched endlessly, indifferent to the medics and their ship. Yet humans once again had shown that resilience, ingenuity, and observation could triumph over the galaxy's harshest extremes. The human, Captain Eli Hart, had survived Glaciaris 9, defying extreme cold, predators, and the limits of alien comprehension. Yet the Galactic Council now faced a crisis far larger than icebound survival. A rogue neutron storm was heading straight for the Lyrian Belt, a cluster of vital colonies in the outer galaxy. Any unprepared vessel, planet, or habitat would be obliterated. The Council had deployed top alien scientists, medics, and tactical units, but predictions were bleak. No conventional system could withstand the storm's magnitude. Leora received the message personally. She and Hart had just completed their debriefing on Glaciaris 9. Hart, ever curious, had begun cataloging local ice flora and fauna for potential Earth application. The alert flashed red: immediate deployment, survival strategy required. Hart didn't hesitate. We're going. This isn't just survival, it's humanity's approach to solving impossible problems. The journey to the Lyrian Belt. The transport ship, equipped with alien shields and human improvisation modules, cut through hyperspace toward the storm's path. Hart spent the trip studying the data feed. Alien models predicted 95% destruction, yet Hart's calculations suggested a slim chance for mitigation using adaptive shielding and environmental manipulation, techniques inspired by human improvisation and resilience under duress. Leora watched him work. "You're not just surviving planets, you're challenging physics," she murmured. "Survival isn't about fear," Hart replied calmly. "It's about observing patterns, predicting outcomes, and acting before panic sets in. Humans do this every day. We've survived deserts, oceans, and frozen wastelands. The storm? Just another environment to understand." The alien crew exchanged uneasy glances. Hart's confidence was infectious, but it was also terrifying. They had never seen a human confront an astrophysical threat with such composure. The storm approaches. Within hours, the neutron storm loomed on sensors. A swirling, iridescent mass of charged particles, energy arcs, and unpredictable magnetic fields. It was bigger than any planetary system. Alien crews panicked, running diagnostic after diagnostic, unable to simulate survival outcomes. Hart walked calmly through the command deck, inspecting every system. "We're not waiting for simulations. We're improvising. Shields must adapt dynamically, power distribution optimized in real time, and environmental controls must compensate for radiation flux. Step 1. Understand the storm. Step 2. Adapt. Step 3. Survive." He drew a manual mapping system of particle flows on a hollow board, combining alien computational models with human intuition. The alien engineers were skeptical. Their calculations suggested annihilation. Hart overrode protocols, adjusting shields and deploying emergency conduits along thermal and magnetic lines. The first wave of the storm hit. Lights flickered. Gravity stabilizers vibrated. Crew members screamed. Yet Hart remained focused, monitoring energy dispersal, adjusting shields, predicting particle trajectories. "You're insane," whispered one alien engineer. "We'll all die." "You mean statistically maybe," Hart said. "But I deal with reality, not probability. Keep adjusting the shields. Trust your senses and listen to me. Every storm has a pattern, you just need to find it." The human advantage. Over the next 12 hours, Hart navigated the ship through the storm. His decisions defied alien logic, diverting power from non-essential modules, channeling heat to stabilize plasma shields, even instructing medics to move along certain decks to balance mass and gravity fluctuations. Each move risked catastrophe. Yet the ship held, absorbing impacts that should have shattered it. Leora took notes furiously. His strategy isn't in any alien manual. It's observation, improvisation, and calculated risk. HFY isn't just about courage, it's about thinking under pressure where no one else can. The storm intensified, particles striking the hull with blinding energy arcs. Alarms blared. Crew members cowered. Hart remained calm, issuing precise orders. Deploy reactive shields to deflect energy surges. Initiate counterspin to stabilize gravimetric anomalies. Use plasma conduits to absorb radiation peaks. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, Hart identified the storm's eye, a temporary zone of reduced particle density. He maneuvered the ship, threading it through the chaos like a needle. The aliens gasped. Calculation said it was impossible. The human had found a path where no algorithm predicted survival. The human touch. Once inside the storm's eye, Hart paused. He examined sensors showing damage localized but non-lethal. Radiation levels were high but survivable. Alien medics rushed to check systems and crew health. Everything stabilized. Hart smiled. Observation works. Improvisation works. Humans survive because we don't panic. We analyze, adapt, and act. Leora recorded a final note. A human captain alone against a neutron storm, using intellect, adaptation, and comm strategy, has preserved an entire fleet. No alien could have done this, not without following his exact process. Humanity's survival is not random. It's engineered through ingenuity, resilience, and relentless observation. Aftermath. Lessons for the galaxy. The storm passed, leaving the Lyrian belt intact. Colonies reported minimal damage. Galactic Council officials were in awe. Reports circulated. A human had not only survived but saved the fleet from destruction through improvisation and ingenuity alone. Hart convened a meeting with Leora and the alien engineers. He shared human principles of environmental mastery, rapid adaptation, and pattern recognition under stress. Alien leaders were fascinated. Observation before action, studying environments to anticipate threats. Improvisation with resources at hand, using available tools creatively. Calculated risk under uncertainty, acting decisively when models fail. Environmental integration, understanding predators, storms, and terrain as allies, not obstacles. The Council recognized humans as exceptional HFY examples, capable of surviving, thriving, and teaching others how to navigate impossible environments. Hart declined accolades, instead preparing for Earthbound research programs, sharing insights for planetary survival, environmental adaptation, and even interstellar disaster mitigation. His calm, calculated human approach had redefined survival for the galaxy. Conclusion: humanity's legacy. From Glaciaris 9 to the Lyrian Belt, humans had repeatedly demonstrated the HFY principles: resilience, ingenuity, adaptability, and unwavering observation. Where aliens saw impossible odds, humans saw challenges to overcome. Leora's final log entry summarized the tale. We came to save a human. But the human has saved us all, from frozen wastelands, deadly predators, and even a galaxy-threatening storm. HFY is more than courage. It is observation, adaptation, and relentless will. Humanity defies death, danger, and the impossible, because we evolve, we learn, and we act. We are the galaxy's wild card, and our story is only beginning. As the Zephyr 7 left the Lyrian belt behind, Hart gazed out at the stars. Every storm, predator, and deadly planet was an opportunity to learn, adapt, and survive. Humanity's HFY legacy was no longer a legend. It was a blueprint for the entire galaxy. And somewhere, in the silent void between stars, aliens would remember that when a human is involved, survival is never a question. It's inevitable.